Good day. Today I'm planning on speaking about a website that I'm currently working on where it will basically automate 90% of my trading, or maybe even 95% of my trading. So I'm planning to build a trading system that is 95% systematic and adaptable to regime switches. So in this video I'll be talking about how I plan to do that. So at the moment, most of my trading analysis is 100% manual. So I go out and I manually analyze the different factors that drive price, and then I manually add up these scores, and then I manually give a reading of bullish or bearish. So this is really tedious and it's time consuming. For instance, we're looking at Japan here. We'll go to Japan economic data, and I manually enter all of these data. So inflation, you have PPI, national core, CPI. I manually enter these, productivity, same thing, and then labor market. And this is really tedious. And based on all of this economic data, I give it a score and say the economic fundamentals are currently giving a strength of 1, whatever this is. So the economic fundamentals for Japan is currently bearish. The narratives, and this is something that will be very difficult to automate because that's subjective. And then how long do narratives weigh on price and so forth. But you have narratives. So at the moment we have easing tariff uncertainty, and Governor Ueda gave a dovish outlook in the BOJ meeting. So narratives for the yen at the moment are negative, and emotions, you have fear and greed. That's how I judge emotion. So currently emotions are neutral, so markets are not really fearful. They're heading to greedy, but they're not really there. And when the markets are greedy, usually the yen does not like that. The yen likes uncertainty and fear because it's a safe haven. So once the market gets greedy, then this will be red for the yen. And then we have COT positioning, which I like to look at. So you have asset managers, leverage funds, and large speculators, and I manually have to look at these every single week and then come back here and report and add this. And then you have technicals, and for technicals I'm planning to even automate this in a way more advanced way. But at the moment, because I'm doing this manually, I just look at the trend on the daily time frame, and then I look at the 200-day moving average. And if it's above both of these, then obviously it gets a bullish reading of 2. And then I look at the RSI. So the RSI, as you know, is an overbought and oversold indicator. So if the RSI is signaling overbought on the daily time frame, if it's signaling overbought, then that would be a sign of, not necessarily sell, but it would give a score of red. So it would mean that, hey, the markets are overbought. So even though it's in a positive trend, the RSI would say you don't really want to buy it, and then this will get a score of this right here. So that's basically how I currently do this, and it's manual, and I do this for JPY, USD, the pound, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar. I do this for Nasdaq, gold, Hong Kong 50, oil. I track the economic data for China, Australia, UK, the US, Canada, and I do all of this manually. So you can imagine how time consuming this is at the moment. And it really is, it's really tedious, but it's how I make my money, so I currently have to do this. So that's when I decided that, hey, I know how to code. Why don't I just create a website where I can track, well, most of this, not all of this, but most of this manually. And that's exactly what I decided to do. So I started to build the framework. I created a design at first, and this right here is the coded website. So this is currently locally on my computer. So you can see that we have, the name will be TD macro, which is top down macro. You can see that you can change this here. You have settings, and user profile and all that stuff. And then here is the important part. So you have your main dashboard. This at the moment is currently just a template. I'll do some fixing here, but on the main dashboard you'll see your risk off, risk on gauge. You'll see the top 3 strong buys and sells. So at the moment when I manually do this, Canadian dollar at the moment is strong buy let me see if anything is a strong sell. Hong Kong 50 is a strong buy at the moment as well. So you would actually see these on the main dashboard, the top 3 strongest buys and sells. And then you have trading desk. And this is something that I plan to get some of my friends who are profitable traders. I give them like a profile, and then they'll share their trading ideas, and I can just come here and look at their trading ideas and so forth. So we all share trading ideas, and you can go to the trading desk and look for that. And then you have news flow, which for me is very important. Every morning when I wake up in the morning, and every night before I go to bed, I check what's happening in the news, because news flows drives narratives, and narratives are important. So that's the main dashboard. And then you have SBMT, which for me is systematic bias management tool, and it's basically this. So in the SBMT, this is where I'll be automating all of this that I do manually. So I'll track the different factors that move price and try to automate it, and it will be a lot more advanced once I automate it and I'm able to code it, because doing some of these stuff manually is currently difficult. So that's what I'll basically do with SBMT, which again, it stands for a systematic bias management tool. So it's just managing my bias on the market, whether I'm bullish or bearish, using a system, using a system as a guide. So that's SBMT there. And then you have macroeconomic data, and again, this is this right here. So you have China economic data, Australia, US. So you have the labor market with NFP, JOLTS, average hourly earnings, unemployment rate. Then you have inflation. Then you have your growth metrics, so your PMI, GDP, retail sales, and all that stuff. So this is where macroeconomic data is. You can come here, click United States, see all of the economic data in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Europe, Germany. I know that Germany is inside Europe, but I actually trade the DAX, and the DAX is Germany's index. So that's why I separated Germany from Europe here. And then you have all the other basically major countries right here. You can just come and look at their economic data. Then you have COT positioning. So you have your large speculators, asset managers, leverage fund, managed money, and this IM proxy, which stands for institutional money proxy. If you know, COT positioning is a bit delayed, so it's basically 6 days delayed. So COT positioning, it gets put together on Tuesday of the week, and then it gets released on Friday after market close. So when the markets open Monday, there's basically a 6-day lag between COT positioning and what's actually happening in the market. So my institutional money proxy, it will be something that I will backtest and see how I can track institutional money, so COT positioning in real time, so I can get rid of that 6-day lag and have a proxy where I can basically track their positioning live. So that's the IM proxy there. So, and then you have liquidity flows. I won't really get into that. That's something a bit more complex for another time. And sentiment is important. So things like CNN Fear and Greed Index, the AAII Investor Sentiment Survey, and you have a few more sentiment indicators that I like. So that will be right here. So I just head to sentiment and I can see exactly what's happening in the markets. Central banks. So I'll probably add something like forward guidance here, the forward guidance that they provided. I'll also probably add things like the current pricing of rate cuts or rate hikes or hold or something here. And yeah, those are the main things. So once I'm done with everything, I'll be able to automate everything right here in my Notion that I currently do manually. And then next you have trading models. So I currently code a few trading models that I use as indicators in TradingView. So this MLM model, this one is a bit more complex, so I won't give away the secret sauce of my MLM model. But basically this model, the MLM, stands for multi-layer momentum model, and it's just basically tracking momentum in the markets using a bunch of different factors and a bunch of different time frames. Again, I won't give away the secret sauce here. MER model is month-end rebalancing model. So at the end of every month, pension funds and asset managers, they have to reallocate and rebalance their portfolio to manage risk. So those rebalancing can actually reflect in market moves sometimes and create a setup. So this MER model, that's basically what I'm planning to build with this model here. Study portfolio, month-end portfolio rebalancing, and then try to capitalize on that in the markets. And then lastly, you have news flow, which very straightforward. This will just be news flow, see what's happening in the markets, top news for the day, and whatever. Trading decks, I already mentioned what that is right here, which will just be me and some of my friends who talk about the markets. They can just come here, they can write a blog, write a trade idea or something, and I can just head to here, read it, see what they're saying, and so forth. And then economic calendar, I plan to add an economic calendar because at the moment most of the economic calendar, they are just not really to my liking. So I will build an actual economic calendar to my exact liking. So that's kind of my idea here, to automate my current trading strategy at 95% or 90%. So I still like the discretionary aspect of trading, and that's why I could never really see myself building a trading bot, because that would be 100% systematic. The bot is making all of the decision. But with my system, I'll basically be automating 90% of my trading with only using 10% discretion. And discretionary, it just means that I am making decision alongside my system, and my system is not doing everything, so that's basically what my plan is here. And this is just a little dummy template that I've made so far. You can see that these right here, these are just some emojis for the SFG icons and so forth. But that's basically my idea here. I'm planning to code a website to automate everything that I know I need in trading, because this at the moment is just too tedious. Hopefully by maybe 4 or 5 months this can be up and running, and I can throw away all of this right here, and I no longer need to come into Notion and manually update and do all of that stuff every single day. So yeah, that's my system where I plan to automate my trading strategy. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Peace and trade safe.